Okay, so this now is slip stitching little recap. So we're going to start, I'm going to go from left to right, slipping this calico onto the pad, and so I'm going to start with a knot. And note, this is not a slip knot, this is just a normal knot that you'd put at the end of a thread if you were sort of learning how to sew at school. So you're just taking the thread around in a loop and going through it. Now I can't actually demo that with one hand, so hopefully you know what I mean. What you will notice about this is that it's quite big knot, so I've done 3 on top of each other here, and that stops it from popping into the pad when you pull it through. So now I'm just going to come along and take off the bottom, if you can see, just underneath that knot. So the knot's still there, but you've hardly got any thread on the end of it. And we're going to, and note I'm going underneath the calico and into the pad for my first one. So I'm going to pull this through. You'll notice also that it's a back stitch. Now see, when I pull it, that knot's not going through. If you only had one knot, chances are it would slip through, so do try and get 3 knots on top of each other. Okay, so now that's in securely and we've done a sort of back stitch, as it were. We're going to go left to right now, so a forward stitch, and the slip stitch is going in, taking your needle into the calico, coming out, down and through the pad. And again, I'm unable to do this one-handed, so I will do one stitch and open it up so you can see what I mean. Okay, so I've done a stitch or 2, so if I just open this up, you should hopefully be able to see what's going on underneath. So the thread is going, so it's come slightly out of the calico here, down into the pad, across the pad, up into the calico, across the calico, down into the pad, across the pad, and so on. So it looks a bit like a castle stitch. Just be aware that you are trying to get this stitch as hidden as possible. So when you're going into the calico, you want to be going underneath the fold so that your thread is hidden when you pull it. When you go into the pad, again, you want to be going right underneath so that when you pull it like so, it all gets hidden underneath. So for some of you, I've said go ahead and get this slip stitched on, but please note that I do want to see what's going on underneath your pad, especially the sort of stitching on top. So if you are sort of cracking on with it, good for you, but please take lots of pictures, and can you send them to me as you go? I would really appreciate that. Okay, thanks then.